Hello, Renegade Widows. How is everybody today? How's everything going? I'm feeling kind of chipper and happy. So I'm excited to talk about how to get more energy in your day today. And it's going to be epic because I have so much great information to share. I am super excited about it. But what I want to do is spend just about 30 seconds waiting for some people to join. And hi, Martha. and get in here and everybody grab a pen and a notebook. And this needs to be titled Energy so that we can have more energy to do the things that we want to do the things that we have to do. Get that pad of paper and pen and be ready to take some notes. We'll give it just a few more seconds and see if some more people are going to hop on, and we'll get started. Super excited. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go ahead and get started. If you catch this as a replay, drop in the comments #replay, and that way we know that you've had a chance to listen. Okay, so the thing I want to talk about is the physical impacts of grief. And there's things such as fatigue and inflammation, having the feeling of emptiness and being depleted, brain fog, lack of focus, a compromised immune system. I mean, it's crazy. All of these things that can happen as an aftermath of grief or during your time of grief. And all of that is a big, huge drain on your energy. And so that's the physical impacts. The emotional impact of grief can be apathy, fear, hopelessness, exhaustion, worry, anxiousness, depression, all of which further impacts your physical health and leaves you with zero energy. So today we're going to break down a very effective way of getting a quick and more steady, meaning you should have some early wins and get some early energy if you implement these things, but then you'll also have ways to long-term really give you more energy and also give you a bigger sense of confidence and hope and joy and happiness. So who doesn't want that, right? So this way we want you to begin taking action and step back up into a place of empowerment and authenticity, which will energize you. So number one, I just want to go over some quick tips about immediate energy boost. And let's see, a couple more people look like they're joining, I think. One of the things for a really quick early win with energy is getting really good sleep. And in widowhood, so many times, the gals that I work with, and I know it was certainly true for me, is they're not getting good sleep. They might be sleeping all night, but then wake up exhausted. And so what I want you to do is try it for 7 to 10 days. And this might seem like a long time, but turn off all technology a few hours before you go to sleep at night. Instead, try to do a little light yoga, nothing too strenuous, because that can get your body going and you might not sleep good because of that. So just some light yoga. Do a meditation instead of a binge session on Facebook. Do what's going to be good for you. You have to do it. No one can do it for you. You might be seeing a really consistent theme on my teachings, and that is meditation. Throughout everything I teach, because it's such a good practice. It's such a great way to really level set your brain and to feel better about yourself. You'd be so pleased at that. Okay, so number two, again, this is the quick and easy things. That was appropriate because eating foods that serve your body, instead of binging on crap full of sugar and processed foods, eat good whole foods, meaning unprocessed foods. If it has more than 3 or 4 or 5 ingredients in it and you can't pronounce them, chances are that's not going to be good for you. Did you know that sugar is more addictive than heroin? When they brought it over to America hundreds of years ago, it was held under lock and key. Sugar was, because it is so addictive and more precious, apparently, than heroin or opioids are. So try to focus on eating good whole foods rather than the packaged stuff chock full of chemicals. It'll take you a few days to really recognize and see and notice, but once you get off of junky foods, it will be worth it. Limit your alcohol intake. I'm a huge fan of the occasional glass of wine or a couple of beers, but over drinking will leave you feeling tired, achy, and unmotivated. It'll leave you feeling so crappy. Um, so, if you think back to, I don't know if if you drink much or whatever, but just think about when you may have overdrank at one point, what a hangover feels like. You add that to grief, even one or two glasses of wine can leave you feeling so crummy. So just a little bit now and then, if that's something you want to do, just try not to overdo it. So now we're going to get into the really good stuff. So I've read all the self-help books and been to a lot of seminars. In fact, that's what my career was in, working with Zig Ziglar and Tom Hopkins and Sandler Training, a huge global sales training company. So I have been to a lot of seminars. What I've learned is they teach you much of the same things we're going to cover today so that you don't have to reach and read a bunch of books and spend years and years learning, like I did, how to live energetic and how to live empowered. So one of the things that's taught that was really common is that we have to learn to accept that there are things in the world that we cannot control, and that you need to accept, or better said, come to terms with them. So there's circumstances in the world that you cannot control. Like, for instance, who's going to be our president? You cast your vote, and that's truly all you can do. So accepting that and just believing that things are going to work out. And I know in my life, there's things that have happened and I think, how in the world could something good come out of this? But it always does. I always learn something new from it. And so I've learned to give up thinking that I can control something, because we really can't. And so just accepting that. So that's the number one. Accept the things that we cannot control. Don't spend our time worrying about it, because it won't make any difference. The second thing that I learned that they teach you is that your attitude matters. So what you think matters, and you should think positively with intention. Train your mind to think positive thoughts. And you might be thinking, well, duh. And I get that. I totally get that. It does take some time to build your thought muscle. An example of a weak thought muscle has a rampant toxic thoughts running nonstop in the back of your mind. So it's constantly on your mind. That's kind of a weak thought muscle, because you aren't taking control of it. That's something you can control. And those rampant, negative, limiting, toxic thoughts can really drain your energy. So the opposite of that is an example of a kick-ass thought muscle is one that says to herself, today I am choosing to wait to worry. I have decided with intention not to worry about the things I cannot change. So going back, that adds on to number one, not worrying about the things that you cannot change, but replacing that with better thoughts, more empowering thoughts, more thoughts that are going to energize you and create more energy in your life. Get in the habit of consuming something positive every single day. I said yesterday on the Facebook Live about self-doubt that literally every single day I listen to something that's positive and uplifting and is going to help me up-level my life and help me to feel better about myself, help me to perform better as a human, as a business owner, as a coach, all of the things that I want to do and do well. So get in the habit of consuming something positive each and every day. You may be on one end of the spectrum, or you may be on the other end of the spectrum, or somewhere in the middle. The good news is, like lifting actual weights, when you go to the gym and you do your bodybuilding, you can always grow your thought muscle. So you start out a little bit at a time. And then if you catch yourself feeling negative or thinking things that are not serving your best interest, your life that you can learn to love and adore, gently call yourself back and say, no, I'm not going to worry about that. Number one, I can't control it. And number two, worrying isn't going to change it, right? So you can always grow your thought muscle. The more you do that, the more robust that muscle becomes. So the third thing is that they teach in these seminars and all of the books, hundreds of books I've read, And that's what has helped me to get through so much in my own life. But the third thing is they teach you is you have to honor your feelings and really not stuff them. Honor your feelings and think through them. So I 100% agree. I want to tell you that. And you have to find out what your feelings are. So, the super important thing is to be able to honor and acknowledge and understand your feelings without allowing it to completely paralyze or derail you. And that's not easy, especially in widowhood. That's hard as hell, but it can be done. You do have to honor your feelings. So then that kind of is controversial about, okay, if I have to have positive thoughts, but I have to honor my feelings, how does all this tie together? So we're going to get to that. Just hang here with me. It's super important because if you stuff your feelings like I did when my brother was killed in an accident at the age of 32, I stuffed my feelings bad. I was so paralyzed and numb and I couldn't hardly function. And so I know firsthand the how detrimental that can be. And I know firsthand how beneficial it is to unpack your feelings. Sometimes we have stuff from way back when we were children, disappointments and letdowns and all of these things and hurts and sometimes bigger things like, molestation or death and loss. There's so many things, but if we stuff all of that, it's really going to jack us up. So it's important to spend the time to go through that and understand, what exactly is going on with me. And anyway, so that's super important. If you stuff your feelings, you're likely to drink too much alcohol. You might end up eating way too much food. You find yourself pulling into the fast food restaurant instead of going home and making that salad that you had planned on making for dinner. I've done it. I'm not kidding you. That's how I know. I'm not telling you anything that I haven't been through. You may end up eating way, way more food than your body needs for fuel, and you end up using work as a way to escape and to avoid things. So we got avoidance and overindulgence and things that don't energize you. Spending too much time on Facebook that's not healthy. Check in with your buddies for a couple of minutes, but you don't have to spend all day or hours. You lose those hours and I can't get anything done. Well, that's because you're on social media too long, maybe. Okay, so all of that to say is don't use avoidance to numb your feelings. Being too numb to make changes or really harming yourself in ways that keep you in turmoil so that you don't have to face any of it. So that's not good. So let's stick with me because we're going from positive thoughts to facing our feelings. Just hang in here. We're going to tie it all together. Another one being the fourth thing is you have to take action that stops procrastination. Learn to take action in your life and in the world so that you begin showing up in a different and better way, to feel more present in your life. You're making a difference. You have some new purpose. You feel good about your day. You took action. And that's a good feeling that has you feeling more happy and snuggling up in your warm bed for the night, thinking about what a good day you had versus laying there beating yourself up for wasting another day. Take action. Start taking action. The fifth thing and the last thing that they teach at a lot of seminars and in practically every self-help book I've ever read is teaching you to goal set. Goal setting is good, and I agree. But what they don't say is to set small goals when when you've been through the ravages of grief after the loss of your husband, setting goals is the last thing you want to do. But I will tell you, and this worked for me, when I was early in widowhood, is setting small goals. I remember setting a goal to clean out my one 3x3 area in my garage at a time. So a 3-foot by 3-foot little square. Start there, go through it. If I want to keep going, great. If I don't, that's okay because I reached my goal. So that was how I was able to clean out my husband's huge workshop full of tons of tools because that was so overwhelming. So overwhelming. Maybe a goal would be as small as staying out of bed for the day. I know one of the gals mentioned that earlier, staying out of bed, taking a shower, adding a little makeup. Maybe it's to volunteer at the local soup kitchen. I just knew it was okay to start small. So that's my add to what a lot of the seminars and self-help books are teaching, is just start small. That might be all you have in you at the moment. So as time went on for me, I would grow my goals just like my thought muscle. I grew my goal muscle. So I got better and better and better at setting goals. So I studied all of those things, and I spent a lot of time applying them into my life, and things did start to get better, but it felt kind of clunky and incongruent. Easy for me to say. I kind of felt like a pinball trying to be positive and also honor my feelings and emotions. So in order to keep you from experiencing some or all of this on an ongoing basis, let's kind of break it down like I told you we were going to do. So go to number 1. Only spend energy and thoughts and time on the things you know you can control. You know you can control whether or not you want to take a shower that day or some other important thing that you want to add to your routine. You know that's what you want to do. And so set that goal. Literally write it down. Sometimes my goal list would say, number 1, get out of bed. Number 2, take a shower. Number 3, take out the trash. Number 4, unload the dishwasher. That was all I could do. That's all I had in me. So I would do that, but I would write a list of those silly things. Take out the trash. What's that take? 32 seconds? But I was able to cross it off, and that helped me feel more accomplished, which in turn helped to empower me, helped me to feel more in control of the things I can control. So you control, like I said, whether or not you want to take a shower that day or something else. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's go to church or go to the grocery store, whatever, but write it down. And when you do it, cross it off. You can decide if you want to open the curtains of your world and let the sun pour in to warm your bones. You get to decide. So put it down. I'm going to open the drapes today. Put it down. Cross it off. So I want you to realize thoughts create your feelings, and feelings create your action. So if you have a thought like, today I'm choosing to wait to worry, I have decided with intention not to go down the rabbit hole and of destruction and worry, and that statement right there, 100%. Let me say it again because I kind of jumbled it up. I have decided with intention not to go down the rabbit hole today of self-destruction and worry. If you write that down, or you could say even better, I have decided to think positive today and step into action and feel more empowered. If you write that down and you say it out loud every single morning, I 100% believe that will create a more positive attitude. Now, that might not have you being Pollyanna and bouncing through life, but what it will do is help to shift your brain, your mindset, your neural pathways get directed in a way that's more positive. Your words are massively powerful. You will have a more positive attitude that day. Even if you have to force yourself to say these positive things because sometimes we're just not feeling it, it's okay. Make yourself say it. Make yourself consume something positive on YouTube or read an encouraging, article on Google. Or, I don't know. I go to YouTube all the time. There's also TED Talks and podcasts. You have to work not to get yourself immersed with positive things. So going on to the third thing is honoring your feelings. And we talked a little bit about that. How in the hell am I supposed to honor my feelings and I'm supposed to keep a positive attitude? I mean, what the hell, right? And so that's kind of what was confusing to me. It had me feeling like a pinball, bouncing all the way around and figuring things out and not feeling good about it. Everything felt clunky and disjointed. And what I will say is over time, I got better and better at allowing myself and often encouraging myself, making myself unpack my feelings on how I was truly feeling. I talked a little bit about when my brother was tragically killed and I did not process my feelings. at all. I didn't. I went into shock. I know I did. But that's not what this is about. But so I had to force myself. I had to force myself to write him a letter, and I had to force myself to feel what I needed to feel of all the emotions that I shoved way down deep inside of me and kept them stuck there for decades. So there's a time for that. There's time. You know, I had to say, okay, tonight I'm going to spend some time in my journal. I'm going to think about my brother. I'm going to write to my brother, etc., etc. So that is a really good way to manage your feelings. Letting them kind of run rampant all day long, like we talked about earlier, that's something that you can control. That is something that you can decide when you want to do it and how you want to do it. Now, if you get triggered in the grocery store because you hear a song or you smell a smell and something triggers you, that's a little different. You might just go outside and spend some time thinking about it and cry if you need to cry. But on the average, or for the most part, you'll be able to just take the time to honor your feelings and say, okay, now I've done that. I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to be more positive and how to have more positive thoughts, how to grow that positivity muscle. So the thing is I decided to stop worrying about all of the things and instead went to work to make myself healthy and happy again. So if I wanted a relationship in the future, instead of worrying about sitting there worrying like, oh my God, I'm so lonely and I feel like I'm going to be alone the rest of my life. Instead of worrying about that, say to yourself, call it out for what it is. Step back and say, what am I thinking about? What am I obsessing on? And is it true? Is it black and white true? Okay, if I'm worrying about being lonely and being alone the rest of my life, I have to call it out. Black and white true? Nope. I mean, it hadn't happened yet. Like I really was going to be alone and lonely my whole life. That hadn't happened. So that's not true. It had not come to pass. And at this time, that's when I decided to stop worrying about that. And when you take control of your words and your actions and instead go to work to make yourself healthy and happy again and take these steps. So if I did want to have a relationship in the future, I'd be happy. I'd be ready, because you don't want to bring a hot mess to a relationship. That's a recipe for disaster. And that is also another day for another time's message. But think about it. Whatever you're obsessing on and worrying about, how can you bring yourself back to the present? Decide if it's true or not. Now you say, oh man, my shingles on my roof are peeling. That's something that's true. You literally saw with your eyes that the shingles are peeling. Now, if that's something that you're worried about but you're not taking action, take action. Figure out what you need to do. Watch a YouTube to how to replace shingles if you don't have the money to spend to get someone out to fix it. Whatever it takes. Take action, okay? But again, going back to get yourself ready and prepared for your next phase of your life. So taking these good habits and really using them as a way to catapult yourself into a more positive place in your life. Does that make sense? The next thing is just the fourth and fifth one go hand in hand. Taking action requires you to set goals. So I kind of tied these up. I broke it down earlier, but I tied it together. Again, maybe it's a small goal to get out of bed and take a shower, but that's taking action. And if that's all you're capable of doing, I want you to hold yourself accountable though. Take a shower each day and cross it off the list. There's just so many things, so little things that we think we should be doing that we truly can do. Like if you have a basket full of clean clothes and you say, oh, it's been sitting there for 3 days. How am I going to get to this? And I'm using super low examples because I want you to know I don't think anything is too small or unimportant. Do you know what I mean? Hold yourself accountable. Write the list. Set the timer for 5 minutes. Set your kitchen timer for 5 minutes. Go start folding the clothes, and I bet you'll have it done and put away in 5 minutes. So you erase the clock. That was something I had to do a lot of to get myself back into action, taking action. The thing is, taking a shower is a good goal if that's where you're starting. That doesn't get to be your only goal forever. So you get that and you make that a habit. Then you set a bigger goal. Today, I'm going to get out and I'm going to go for a 20-minute walk. And that's another goal. Get that as a habit. Then set another one. Today, I'm going to go down to the soup kitchen and I'm going to volunteer. And that becomes a habit. And so you just continue to grow those muscles of goal setting and holding yourself accountable. So taking action and goal setting go hand in hand. It just does. I want you to get in the habit of making lists. Maybe they're big. Maybe they're big, huge things like I need to pay, I need to do my taxes. My taxes are overdue and I need to do that. Set yourself a date and make yourself accountable. Keep growing your action and goal setting system. And if you aren't good at holding yourself accountable, get a girlfriend or a support group to be part of. Get plugged into whatever it takes to get you moving forward using these steps to catapult yourself into a new life that you adore. We are in the driver's seat of our life. There are things we can't control. Our husbands are gone. They're dead. They are no longer on this earth. We can't change it. And we can't control it, because if we could, we would have. So acceptance, taking action, wisdom to know the difference of what you can control and what you can't control, all of those things. We talked early on again about the food that you eat, cutting back sugar, cutting back alcohol, making sure you're getting better sleep by having good sleep habits at night. All of those things are going to begin to increase your energy. And that's what we all want, right? This is a society of exhaustion and being drained. And when we feel that way, everything feels worse. Everything feels more overwhelming. So take this to heart. Please let me know in the comments what resonated the most to you. What else could I, spend time teaching, demonstrating, talking about. How can I help you further? But please put those notes in, what you think, what you thought. Call me out if you think it's baloney, whatever you need to do. But that is all for today. And I'm just so glad that you guys showed up today. I hope this is helping. I hope that you take some of these things and really make them habits, and then we can grow further. We can add on to that and go even more and more. And I do want to add one thing. I did used to obsess that I was going to be alone forever, and I was so lonely. I was. A lot of us know instantly. You'll say, yep, our friends kind of abandon us when we become widows, and we don't know why. But what I did was I took these steps. I immersed myself in so much content and YouTubes and podcasts and books. I'm talking hundreds. I'm an obsessive learner. I love to learn. So I really made a point to create a new life, and I did. And I honestly am not in touch with hardly any of the friends that I used to have. And so that's okay. I just wanted to finish this last part. I am in the happiest, most amazing relationship, and I have been now for, is it going to be 8 years? Yeah, in March it'll be 8 years. So we're so happy, and I want that for you ladies. I want to have you experience happiness again. It's possible. Don't ever, 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 ever give up. Take care, and God bless. Love you guys.